Hey, my name's Hemlock. I'm a VTuber and Live2D artist. I wanted to do a quick little video on my Live2D workflow. This isn't going to be like a comprehensive tutorial, but I just wanted to do something. I think I work rather fast, and something in this might help someone. I made a smaller alt model a couple days ago and I recorded the whole process. It took me about 3 hours from like start to finish drawing to the end of rigging. And so let's get into it. I've been playing a little bit in the background. I tend to work from the bottom up. Bigger, less moving things come first, and then I work my way up to the face, which needs all those little fiddly parts. But I start with a sketch and I try and do the line art first. I have this weird habit that apparently not a whole lot of other Live2D artists use, where you just draw separate parts instead of drawing a full model and separating them. I just think it keeps things a little bit more organized in my head personally, when I'm a little strange. I like to keep everything, anything I might possibly want to move separately has to be separate. Even if I don't end up using it in the end result, it's nice to know that those things are there. Like in the final product for this, I essentially keep the arms in with the hands, but you know, just in case. And yeah, I'm just adding in some details. When I make it to the face, things tend to pick up a little bit more. But it's a lot of hiding and reappearing and checking the ref. But it all comes together pretty quick, especially when I'm working on something so simple. But I still have dozens of layers just to keep things working out. Here I am making sure that there is a back for the hood, which is very important. If you have any part of the clothing that would show when your character turns to the side, you want to make sure that there is a back to it, like hoods, the bottom of skirts, sleeves. I, at my very simplest, have 3 parts to an eye: the backing, the pupil, and the eyelid, which those are the only parts that this one has. For the mouth, I tend to have a top lip with a bit of barrier to fit the mouth inside, a bottom lip with a little bit of an extra barrier. Sometimes I'll separate the tongue and teeth from the very backing, but it didn't seem necessary for such a simple model this time. We're doing the hair cap and the little extra fiddly parts right now. I just keep in mind exactly where the layers need to be for showing up. Any of this, well, all of this will be fixed once we get into Live2D. We'll be making sure that everything is put properly. And I am rigging the tail like this because I plan for it to swish back and forth, and it needs to be straight up for skinning. And some final touches. I have the earring sway back and forth, so it does have to be an extra layer, but that's it for the drawing. Fairly simple. We're just keeping it chill. On to the rigging. Oh, I should probably move myself. There. So first off, I look at this giant list of layers on the left and I freak out for a little bit. And then I grab the head and the back of the hair, which is not in the head folder. And I put everything together with warp deformers as like a new folder, quote unquote, for the deformer setting section on the bottom. I like to start with angle Z for the head. I use a rotation deformer. I just make sure everything's fine, nothing clips. And I turn off the glasses and the hair so I can see everything going on in the eyeballs. Turn the eyeballs into a warp deformer. Do X and Y, do my corners, stick them together, and then I clip so the pupils cannot leave the back of the eye. And then we just kind of slam the inside of the eye. I don't move the pupil. Just the backing into the eyelash. And all right, we got the eyes done. I realize that there's something wrong with my horns. So I fix that. And then I move on to the brows. I pretty much only just use brow form, and I use a deformation path for those. It's simple and it works. And onto the mouth. Use another deformation path, even though I barely moved the top lip on this one, but it's fine. And I have this set on just mouth open. And then I do a very simple mouth form where I have it to be closer together on the left and further apart on the right. And I could probably get a bit more dramatic with that, but I really don't find like perfect mouth tracking to be something I really care about right now. I'll probably work on it later. So I have something that blinks, moves its eyebrows, and can talk. And I start on the angle X. I always make sure to move the head a little bit to the left and lift the cheek. And ooh, this trick I blatantly stole from Lin Mamachi, where as you move the head back and forth, you only edit one piece at a time. And I feel like things go a lot faster than you just like pushing everything to the left and then moving the head to the right and pushing everything to the right. And I did not try very hard when I was drawing this hair cap, so I have a little bit of trouble fixing that. But yeah, I go left to right, adding warp deformers to like the very specific items that are not going to have physics on them. If I get really lazy, I add a warp deformer to everything, and then later when I add physics, I add a second warp deformer on top of it. Because if you put physics and an angle on the same item, the angle will take precedent and turn off the physics. And so I just keep in mind that things further back on the head will go in the opposite direction of the head as it turns, and so the ears are like a bit further back, so when I turn my head to the left, a little bit of the ear would be disappearing. Now we're fucking with angle Y, which is a lot easier than X, to be honest. You just have to keep in mind what would stretch and what would look smaller as you look up and down. And again, just piece by piece. And here I forget how ears work for half a second, and I move them up instead of down. There we go. And I make sure to move the earring independently of the ear so it does not get warped. And it lets me just keep the physics on it a lot better later on. And here I am turning on the shit in front of the face so I can work on it piece by piece. And then I realize that my eyes look kind of wonky. I hate working with glasses because it's very, very obvious when you deform them. So they're perfect circles. And I just do I synthesize the corners, and then I give everything a quick once over and make sure it works. And I really, really like to move the neck with the head movements. It just makes things look a little bit more realistic, I'm saying, for a chibi. And every time I finish something, I tend to check it in the physics menu. And I'm messing with this little hair bit. I completely change it later on because it moves weird. But here I am adding physics. I made a new warp deformer for this piece of hair because, once again, if you double up, you can break your physics. And I even turned the physics off for that one later. But I'm just attaching these to the pre-made hair move front, side, and back. And I make new ones for the earrings, the ear bounce, and the tail. I like to just give it a little bump up and down. And here I go a little wild, attempting skinning for the first time ever, and I used way too many deformation paths, and it breaks it absolutely wildly. And I give up and I save it for the tail. This project was my first time using skinning. Yep. You see me accidentally do the earring a couple times. This is a learning process. And so, yeah, I keep it to just a deformation path, which works fine for me. And here I do the physics. I turn the scale up for everything, pretty much. And make sure you change the normalization of the input to 30 because most of your angles are set to 30 minimum and 30 maximum. So when your character turns to their full neck turn, your items will actually follow that instead of stopping at 10 instead of 30. And I'm just trying to make sure that the ear wiggle works. And a lot of the time with up and down movement instead of side to side, you do need to just slam those physics up. If anyone has a better solution, please let me know. And here I am skinning the tail. I create a deformation path with not too many pieces. And then I rig rotation deformer by rotation deformer. And I end up redoing the tail later, but just to change the angle a little bit and make sure that the axe tip for the tail actually fits well. Like it looks fine here, but I have it go out at the sides instead of in later on. And here I am just putting the wings on the breathe deformer so they work as an idle animation. Yeah, and a little bit of a normal breathe and then a leg bounce because ADD. And I decided at the last minute that I wanted I wanted my character to move their switch with their face, because like when you look in one direction, you tend to keep whatever you were holding in front of you in that direction too. And so I just make sure that I move and deform the forearms and the biceps. It's good practice to just make sure that your character tends to move as like one entity instead of just arms wiggling and they're not attached to their elbows properly. Just like little tweaks like this really, really help a model shine. And I'm doing a quick body Z, really, really simple. I just put everything but the tail in a warp deformer, and I try to keep the bottom of the model stay where it is essentially. But yeah, that's I'll show you the final product. This is the mini gargoyle rig. Everything looks pretty smooth. I'm using the audio lip sync with PRPR right now, and it doesn't really like this mouth too much. It's doing its best. So I turn and I move the switch. My little parawiggly and earring move and stay a bit to the side when I move my head. I may edit the wings later on so they don't deform and squish when I do this, but it's a quick fix. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope someone do something. Thank you.